So week one was the introduction to us for account and client management, and this week really set us up for the mistakes that we were going to make, and most importantly what we did after them. So it gave us also an insight into how we can give great account client services. So it's relevant for us as we are working through this process of making mistakes in our project and also setting ourselves up to impress this company, which was Kathmandu. We are doing this with our best possible first impression and insight into our account client services.
So, are mistakes a big deal in this industry? Well, it depends on what you do after the mistake is made.
The impact this week's content had on our team was reminding us the importance of transparency, being honest about the mistake we had made, not knowing what's going on, and also being able to meet a deadline like we couldn't meet it, telling our team that we couldn't. It created more cohesive work and also let us focus on then how to resolve things. This section reminded us what actually being a good suit meant. So that is, we did our research and that we knew about our company inside and out. We knew what made it tick and we got creative and involved. We also asked each other so many questions and searched every aspect of the client so we could relate and design this project as much as possible to them.
2. Using creativity to fuel your thinking. Here we looked at Smith and Dawson's podcast, and our main challenge here was to create a campaign between Kathmandu and WeatherHyde that would better communicate to our consumers. This campaign was about the homelessness in Nigeria, something that's a bit far from home. So trying to get our consumers to turn around and donate to our charity rather than any other would be our main concern. We did this by gathering our materials, our research. We got secondary and primary research. Things that we also did was go and communicate with people that knew the Kathmandu brand or were their target market. We collaborated all of our information into key categories, made relationships, links that would connect all of our information into something that made sense. An important part of our process was to incubate our ideas. We took a step back, we went home, we thought about it, and this is where we found our eureka moment. The whole campaign would surround the idea of home, because that's what Kathmandu is really about. It's about making a home out in the wilderness. It's about finding a home amongst your friends and family. And it's also about finding a home for the homeless people in Nigeria.
Week 3's content, Part 1 Managing Projects, explores skills relevant and useful for undergoing the management process. For both our team and for managing client needs, it explores expectations of when managing projects such as our own campaign launch, and how our target market and expectation needs to be outlined and our steps premeditated to ensure a successful collaboration. Our team put these skills to the test, and as stated in Harvard's business review, we experienced phases of planning, build-up, implementation, and close-out. I think our team successfully implemented direct and precise management skills with the use of cross-team communication to discuss overlapping notions and implement changes and reforms as we expected individual ideas to overlap. Campaign changes and reforms were discussed and evaluated by all group members to ensure team efficiency and success. Week 4's content discusses managing projects, more focus on constraints, risks, and assumptions. We took our project to the next step with executing the steps we had implemented and planned. We had a clean and concise work breakdown structure and all successfully regularly checked in to ensure we did our end of the task to submit a very well-written document. We avoided risks very well as the project was completed without any miscommunication. This due to our precautions. I think this project was extremely beneficial in giving our team an experience in managing projects individually and in a group, while also exposing us to similar experiences with hands-on group work.
The weekly content from Week 5 is relevant to our project and group because it taught us how to be effective. The Week 5 lecture taught us the importance of making a to-do list, which shows us the actions that are relevant to achieving our tasks. The lecture also taught us about Stephen Covey's time management matrix, which is an extremely helpful tool for our group as it helped us to break down everything from the work breakdown structure into different categories. Whether it was an important urgent task, important not urgent task, not important urgent task, and not important non-urgent task. For example, editing the pitch video is an important and urgent task. Week 5 also taught us about the WIP document and how it is useful and how it is helpful to find out what everyone is doing and how they are doing it. The WIP document monitors and records the progress and gets people to follow through and helps keep a detailed record of who's turning up to the meetings and who isn't contributing weekly. The impact Week 5 had in our group is that it was extremely helpful and effective in allowing us to get the most out of our time. The most difficult part of the content from Week 5 was to determine what tasks were the most important and urgent and what tasks were not important and not urgent, so that they can be done at a later date. Applying to-do lists worked extremely well for us as we had a reference to look back on to determine what needed to be done and when it needed to be done.
So week 6 was all about managing difficult relationships. This week's content was really relevant. We were working in a group, and of course, like any group, we're all very different. We all have different personalities, different ways we work and dedicate ourselves to the project.
Thanks guys, talk to you later. God, I hate this project.
This has impacted our team as we gain the ability to recognise different personalities within our group and how to effectively manage them. There were a few cases where we had to blend to reduce differences between the 4 of us and redirect to steer our plans to a better outcome. For example, we had some difficulties with making decisions in concrete without fully actually running it past the whole group, so we used approaches of blending, acknowledging what's important to them, and presenting our views indirectly, so we redirected our words saying maybe and perhaps to make sure that we weren't challenging each other.
Week 7 taught us how to be proactive and why it is important to be proactive. Being proactive is important for us as it helps to take initiative in directing the course of events rather than waiting until things happen and then reacting.
Taking 30 seconds or 5 minutes to take a step back actually drives efficiency and drives productivity.
We also learned about the 80-20 rule, which is used to help us identify the activities we should pursue. 20% of your efforts will produce 80% of your results. The impact that week 7 had on our project is that it taught us that it is important to be proactive and to start things straight away rather than waiting until the last minute. Starting things early worked extremely well for our group as it allowed us to have everything completed early, resulting in us not being stressed when the project was due.
During week 8, we learned how to overcome fears and challenges from guest lecturer Greg Beasley. From this, we gained an understanding on how to acknowledge fears and prepare for challenges, and also how to create a change of perspective in order to overcome barriers. To do this as a group, we started by acknowledging potential fears that may occur during the project, such as poor workmanship within the group and losing files due to technical difficulties. We then prepared for these fears by evenly dividing the workload and backing up all data. By acknowledging our fears, we could then prepare for any potential threats to occur during the assessment. A challenge that we found difficult to overcome as a group was managing group communication due to active timetables not corresponding. Using Beasley's advice, we decided to break down the challenge by discussing each team member's availability by creating an online group chat. By doing this, we became flexible to relying heavily on digital communication rather than face-to-face meetings without losing sight of the end goal.
Week 10 and we're designing our pitch. So for our pitch, we want to keep in mind the 6 principles of a good pitch. This is transparency, respect, bravery, communication, collaboration, and timing. So with these 6 principles, we want to make sure our process was rigid, structured, we got everything done in the time possible. But that didn't really connect with the Kathmandu brand. The Kathmandu brand is all about creativity. We want to keep Kathmandu at the forefront of everything we design. We wanted to know the brand and understand it in a way that the consumers will relate to it. Our communication was something that was scheduled, it was planned, it was in meeting times. But it was also that conversation we had outside of those schedules that really put us on the ball. We want to be brave, take that step forward and get out of the box. We want to make sure we respected each other's contributions and heard everyone that spoke.
Week 11 allowed our group to learn how to effectively pitch our campaign and create a persuasive presentation. We started by learning the basics from this week's lecture pod, such as strong voice, eye contact, and being well rehearsed. We took notes of these points for when we present to ensure we follow them perfectly in order to be persuasive. From the Steve Jobs video, he discussed various presentation techniques. As a group, we decided to follow a set theme, demonstrate enthusiasm, and sell an experience. To do this, we conducted extensive research about the Kathmandu company so we are familiar with what generates their emotions. We want to present in a way that outlines their focus of the outdoors and adventurous souls during our pitch video by highlighting these factors. We want to be as personal as possible during our presentation and display our eagerness of the brand by adding further outdoor elements. We will sell the experience by showcasing our emotional impact that the WeatherHyde tent can produce to their customers.